All right, so thank you guys for coming back. We have a lot of videos actually this week, so excited to do that. And like we are quickly coming up on like the final presentation, which is very exciting. So this week I wanted to do something sort of slightly different. I know like the past couple weeks there's been like an assignment every time, and we've had like a discussion, and I think that that's great for the having the assignment. But I think sometimes like we also need to take time to like go back on the prior stuff that we have done and sort of tweak it and iterate on it, because I think that's also an important part of the scientific process. And while I think the hope was that like people always do that, I think when there's always something to do, it can get a little bit hard to actually do it, because you do the one thing and then you finish that up and you don't have time to like think back on what you did previously or whatever. So actually this assignment this week is literally just like to iterate on it. And I think this is like, it's really hard to overstate how I think important iteration is in like science. Like oftentimes like the experiment doesn't work the first time, or whatever doesn't work the first time. So you really have to go back, and kind of the thought process behind like the Psi Combinator model, at least, was that like you kind of like speed run it as quickly as possible first, and then afterwards you can like start iterating on it. But the idea of like going through each assignment in only like 2 or 3 days, which is obviously very fast, is that you at least don't get stuck on any one problem for longer than you should, which is also like an important thing as well. So now everyone has like the building blocks to have something working from soup to nuts, and now you can iterate, experiment, have free time to do one more iteration on anything that's kind of missing. Very simple. So next week's video will just be like open-ended, and you can just talk about whatever you want. And I think it's actually really good, because like I don't think there should be like an assignment for everything, because that's not like how life is. Like life is much more about like, having freedom and choice and working on what's interesting to you. And so I'm actually very excited about like what this next assignment, how people are going to sort of interpret and go about this next assignment. And just to like give you some, so like we did this week's assignment was obviously like the writing up, and then the previous week's was the writing up, and then next week's is kind of like the free time, and then so you can iterate on the writing up part again. But also then the week after, which is the final assignment, is like the project presentation. So having the 2-minute video that we will present, and then you can give, or you can give it real life, but we do need a 2-minute presentation just for the website, so that we have a 2-minute presentation from everybody. And then we can either use that 2-minute presentation in the final demo, or you can do it live, either in person if you're in New York, or or virtually using like Google Meets. So there's a lot of options there, but the 2-minute video presentation will be good. But that's the next week's assignment, and that's the final. I just wanted to give people some more forward-looking thing. The other thing I wanted to do today was just like have a little bit more feedback on not necessarily any in particular project, but like what sort of worked with Psi Combinator, because we want to do it again, obviously, and what sort of didn't work, and just feedback for myself and for people that will be joining next time. Did you guys like the model of like having the assignments, or should it be more open-ended or less open-ended? More focused on platform stuff, more focused on science? Is it too long? Is 8 sessions in 2 weeks too long? Is it too short? Go ahead, Tristan. Or the other thing I would think could be an interesting question of topic is the engagement between people. Should it be IRL? Should it be virtual? And then how did the like meeting times work for people as well? Was other questions I had. Yeah, Tristan can. Yeah, go ahead.
I like the length. I guess my suggestion.
Oh, I can't hear you. You came in, but then it like the mic cut out.
I like the length, but I think that maybe having a choice within the first couple of weeks of like, are you going to be building code, or are you going to be running an experiment, or are you going to be doing something else? Because I can see how there's kind of like a forking between different options, and sometimes the prompts felt like I was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole or something. So that might be something to think about.
I think that's very good feedback. I mean, the initial thought behind the Psi Combinator thing was like science, but it did turn out that a lot of people wanted to do more like platform-ish projects as opposed to like some like science type projects where like the key part of it would be some aspect of data collection, I guess, is like an important part of like one of the most important parts of science. So, I mean, the other option would be like to split it into two. So having like more of a platform group and more of like a science group, and having them just be different. Or did like people get any benefit? Like Rakan, did you or Charles or Elijah? How did you guys feel as sort of or Joel, like being people that like collected data?
I think it was a fun sort of stretch goal, because future folklore is kind of straddling, possibly like real research and data collection, maybe more like technology incubator. So it was fun to kind of make a foray into just, an attempt at data collection. I think for me and maybe for others, the idea of collecting like one piece of data was kind of, it took a few days to like absorb that idea, and but it was a fun creative challenge.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah. I'll go for it.
Okay, I'll go. I thought it was actually pretty good, and kind of just echoing some of Joel's thoughts just regarding the data collection. Luckily I already had some data, so there's some things I could do with it. But I think just possibly just give it a little bit more stretch time for for data collection, or even possibly instead of necessarily even having the data collection, we might just want to talk about the actual design of the research and how you're going to go about collecting the data. So if someone's like, oh, I want to do a survey, it's like, all right, so what kind of survey are you going to do, and present that possibly like instead. Because that's at least for for the group, it'd be a little bit easier for them just to do it that way than just be kind of thrown into like collect this data. I feel that might help, but that could also make the program like way too long. So that could lead to its own set of problems.
So basically, have a session where it's just like come up with your survey and show that, and then the second time be about that's a good point. That's valuable. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Or Elijah?
Yeah, my thoughts are basically, it was, I came into the program with the idea of working on my data sets that I curated. So not my data sets, but trying to essentially forge a new data set out of it. And with the secondary goal of sort of packaging up and semi-productizing my code library. Neither of those are really what I've ended up focusing on, which I think has actually been great. I didn't, the having to like focus and really pick what I thought was like the most important question that I could try and answer with like short-term data collection, and like coming up with this survey has been a new path that I think actually has like some good legs. And yeah, I've had fun working on it. So it's been just like having to really pick out of like all the things I could do with Canada's Genome DAO. be like, okay, that's what I'm going to focus on like right now, and like try and do something, and that's the most impactful thing I can. It was, I think, really valuable to do that and force me to do that, instead of just having this, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, so to say. But we'll see. I still have yet to really have success, so we'll see. I think it's
Okay.
a good idea. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I think you just have to iterate on, like, everyone just has to iterate on it. Like, it doesn't just happen the first time. Like, even Psi Combinator was a bit of a growth of something else, because it wasn't what I was expecting. And then I was like, oh, this would be like a different way of doing it, which is like worked a little bit better. And like, you just have to like try new things out and just keep experimenting, like on the experimental process. Like, it doesn't work the first time.
Yeah, and then just echoing on Elijah's point, I thought that was I really like that part about the problems. Like, all right, so here's a research question, because that of course really helps you focus. Because a lot of this stuff is since we're all kind of just like starting out, there's a lot of different avenues to go towards. So having the research question really focuses and narrows your mind, so you can just focus on one particular thing and kind of just work on that. So I really like that part of it.
Very cool. Awesome. Julian or Darian?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I liked just getting to know some people. I think it's like, it would be interesting. Well, I'm in New York, so like I've definitely enjoyed getting to know some people in like the crypto New York scene. I think like, yeah, it's tough. I'm always a fan of like doing stuff IRL when possible, but it feels like there's probably not enough concentration of people in one place to make like some, breakout kind of IRL groups a thing. I would say like if there was, enough of concentration in one place, just by happenstance, it could be cool to kind of, get those folks together. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with like certain assignments. I mean, for us, it was more of like we're building this platform. We're not really like doing like experience. I mean, I think it was helpful to kind of think about like, even if you're building a platform, you kind of do data, like you should be doing data collection and stuff. I think that was something where I kind of had to think a bit about, okay, like what we're doing and how is it kind of DeSci versus like, just building like a tech platform. And that was, I think, a helpful kind of thought exercise.
Cool. Awesome. Darian?
Yeah, not sure that I have that much more to add besides what's been said. I agree with a lot of it. Definitely feel the platform side of things. I guess the only new comment here was, I guess I wish it were longer. Would be the only thing here. Certainly, we made a lot more progress than we would have normally, but there's still a long way to go. Yeah, that's basically it.
Cool. Awesome. Anyone else have any other things just while we are all here?
I think along those lines, I've found because future folklore is not in biotech, I just find a lot of the conglomerations of DeSci projects seem to revolve around biotech in some way. Partly due to like Molecules leadership or VitaDAO, and because I'm like very much not in biotech, it's been hard to like find a consistent like cohort of people to kind of work alongside. So yeah, it would be cool if something like this could continue living on, and I don't know, I'm not sure how else to develop that thought, but yeah.
Cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree that DeSci can have many facets beyond just bio. So that's important to give those people a place as well. Amazing. Good comment, Joel. And Rakan.
Yeah. So the overall experience was positive. So I'm having difficulties structuring my work, and participating in the program gave me an opportunity to actually do stuff. Yeah, so the overall impact was very much positive and beneficial to the project. The only thing that could have been improved is interaction between projects, because it's not clear at this point why we had to interact with other teams, because the output did not uh, rely on the interaction with other projects. So it was
Got it.
like an extra thing. Yeah.
Got it. I guess, yeah, I see what you're saying. So I think I see what you're saying. It's a great point. Basically, people should have a purpose for engaging with another project as opposed to just an open-ended meet another project and get to know each other. But there should be some sort of like outcome from that. And I think like being critical of myself, I think what we could do next time is give people a more focused assignment to do together between teams, and then people will just naturally get to know each other, as opposed to just allow people to get to know each other and then accomplish something after the fact. So yeah, we could definitely, if you or anyone else has suggestions on like what would be like a good project people could work on between teams. Maybe it would vary per assignment. Maybe we should think about like how to make it specific to the hypothesis generation, say. And like, you know, one thing would be like internal peer review. So like each person comes up with some stuff, and then you guys critique it between yourselves, and then you come into the bigger group and you critique it with each other. And that might be one way in which there could be like more of a productive reason for people to work together on something.
That's a cool idea. One other idea too to kind of facilitate that is, I feel like there were some projects that I didn't quite grasp until maybe like even earlier this week, and it's because like the time allotted to each project is relatively short, especially in the beginning where everybody is submitting a video, and I feel like, oh, that's, now I kind of get it. And I don't know, maybe just some like free flowing time for people to share like more about their projects or pain points. I know there's some give and take there, right? Because if everybody had like lots of free flowing time, then we wouldn't get around to everybody. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of projects to start with, you know, in that sense.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I mean, one of the things that I will end on this comment is, the meetings have been a little bit long, and so yeah, I think like a good thing to do would be to maybe have some time for people to do other things, or like work on other ways, work offline. Okay, so getting into the point of meetings being a little bit long, we will start. And thank you guys all for thank you Tristan, Jill, Rakan, Julian, Charles, Darian, Elijah, all for the good feedback. And if anyone else wants to add anything down the road, definitely feel free to do it. And yeah, so just to reiterate, next week's assignment is basically work on anything, have it be open-ended. And this is a bit of an experiment, obviously. Don't know what people are going to submit. This could either be great or it could be a disaster if people do a good job. Then if people do a great job, that'll be great. If people don't, that's fine. Okay, so without further ado, and give me feedback on if you like this project or not, because I'm curious to let the reins off a little bit. Okay, so without further ado, we have Tristan. There we go, from Research Collective.
Hey, this is Tristan with the Research Collective. I ended up using Mirror for my main article, which is kind of like Medium, but more for Web3. I plan on making a tweet thread as well, which kind of sums it up and essentially does the same thing. So in the article, I focused on both the escrow system, but also just the idea of giving tokens to participants once they're done with the study. I've got some calls to action. What went well was working to really simplify my language as much as possible. I feel pretty content about that. I got the basic idea down into one meme, which is also, I think, a good call. My main concern is whether or not I post this from like my personal Twitter or the Research DAO Twitter. I guess I'm gonna have my personal Twitter just retweet the other one. But I'll drop it in the Psi Combinator channel, and so please show it some love. Thanks.
I think that's great, Tristan. Like, I think Medium is like a perfect vehicle to express what you did. Yeah, and good job not taking directly doing Twitter. I think
Got
Twitter's
some
great, but
calls to
also like I think Medium is great as well. I'm just trying to. I haven't post. I didn't. If you haven't posted in the group chat, do so.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
So let me just take a quick look to see like what. Does anyone have any other comments while I'm looking at the video here?
Is this going to be a part 1 of 3?
Web3. I plan on.
Yeah, so I mean, I've outside of this combinator, I've been thinking about some other incentive mechanisms, and I just feel like I need to like get them onto paper and
Cool.
start sharing them. So I think I'm gonna keep writing.
I mean, I think one thing that would be really, let me see if you did this, is have like a TLDR of like in one sentence, what is this thing about? That would be like something that I'm looking for now. Yeah, but overall, and anyone else have a comment for Tristan? Rakan? Anything? Elijah?
Looks good. Looks like the article is short and to the point, which is something I'm trying to do with the article I'm working on. So, bravo.
Let me ask, how much did you use GPT for writing?
I did not use it for writing.
Got it. Did you ever consider it, or just wasn't?
I like the mental exercise, honestly, to
Okay.
make it simple. But yeah, I yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't think it was necessary.
Okay, cool.
Is-
And what was your call to action?
It depends on their level of commitment. If it's just kind of like casual, then to fill out the survey, I'm gonna change that survey so that it's like, are you signing up for decentralized trials? Do you want to join this community? Depending on their like initial responses. If people are working in DeSci, then try to coordinate on building the platform. And then if people are running research experiments, then if you want to potentially add this as a feature, then reach out to me and we can try to add it into your process.
Cool. Awesome. Very excellent. Digital round of applause for Tristan. Nice.
Well, thank you.
And next up we have Joel with Future Folklore. Make sure it is. Lots of digital applause.
Hey, this is Tristan with the Research Collective. I ended up using Mirror for my main article, which is kind of like.
Did you ever consider a Ghost or any of the other things?
Like a ghost?
Ghost
Oh, for publishing?
instead of Medium.
Oh, I use Mirror, not Medium.
Mirror. Oh, perfect. That's even better. Okay, awesome. Okay, excellent. And next up we have Joel.
Hey, Joel here with Feature Folklore with a hypothetical tweet thread presenting our research. Most of this will be familiar from my video earlier this week, but I begin by just naming Future Folklore and reminding people what we're all about. And our research partner, Jared, we want to look into correlating radio signals that are commonly associated with anomalous aerial sightings, in other words, UFOs. So we drop a few institutional names here, NASA, the Department of Defense, just to quickly show that this radio bandwidth is interesting, and it's been reported widely, including by other research groups, helping us narrow down to 1.6 gigahertz. And so that is our research question. Do these sightings correlate meaningfully with radio data at this frequency? So to answer this, we set up some synthetic data and an analysis pipeline using GPT. Here's signal strength over time with sightings in the red X. And then we jump over here to the frequency, of course, here on the blue on the right-hand side. So our methodology is simply to gather research data in the field and to have passive radio data collected using software-defined radio devices in the immediate vicinity. I also bring up human-initiated contact events, which is more of an esoteric practice. I quickly shelve this for another time, realizing that for the wider research community, this might bring up more complexity and questions with an already complicated subject, let's say. But it's one that I do countenance and take seriously for future research. Other research analysis factors, rather, we want to rule out common sources, get a good baseline. I invite people to tell us what are we missing. And here's the correlation results. Again, synthetic data, some slight correlations here, both positive and negative. And then I end by saying this is only the beginning. We want to involve you. We want to make cool tech for everybody to enter this research and to share it. And here's a fun Navy UFO video.
Cool. Excellent. Anyone have any questions for Joel to start off?
I should add that Jared, who's the kind of research partner with this particular project, has been like literally out at night trying to collect some sample data. So I use the synthetic data again, just like last Tuesday, but there's a possibility that we could have something more real life.
That would be good. That would be good. Maybe some pictures of him collecting the sample data would be cool. People might be interested in that. Anyone else? Julian? Elijah? How many tweets?
Oh,
How many tweets? How long was it about?
Oh, I forgot to count before I deleted it. Probably 8 to 10. And I chose to break it up. And if you have like the blue subscription in Twitter, you can easily fit all that into one tweet now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I think they allow you to embed like 4 images now. But I just feel like people still like the tweet threads because it kind of helps you break up thoughts. But yeah.
What else? Another question. Were you able to tag anyone else in it so that you could get some distribution?
So I didn't actually tweet this yet. I just kind of drafted it. But yeah, Jared's on Twitter. I tagged some of those institutions. Not that NASA's going to retweet this particular study, but yeah, there's a few others, definitely.
Definitely think of, you could tag Psi Combinator, so we could retweet it. You should tag as many people as you can possibly think of. And that way they'll feel engaged with it. You could also, just think of anyone you could possibly think of. And, I think that would also be interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of
because you're on Twitter as opposed to Mirror.
Yeah.
You can leverage some of those social structures.
Yeah, for sure. The UFO subculture will definitely like this. Yeah.
Very cool. Someone else was talking. I didn't touch you before I talked.
It was more of a silly question that was inspired by the video you showed at the end. How fast can UFOs go, or like how fast have these things been observed travel?
I was just reading. So New York's Chuck Schumer just published this crazy UFO legislation, and there's some stats in there. That's a long story, but like 0 to Mach 5 in like a blink of an eye or something like that. It's bonkers. Allegedly, this is coming from the DoD, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But
awesome. Okay, excellent. Next up, we have Rakan and Hackage.
Hello, we are Hackage, and the assignment for today was to write a technical text, then format the text as a Twitter thread, and try to leverage AI. In my work, I use a range of different tools to find, store, and organize knowledge, and to take advantage of AI I used 3 of my texts. So first of all, my project one-pager. Then at the onset of the program, I wrote my hypothesis in the Telegram channel. And also we had a brief text in our collaboration document. So 3 input texts. I use ChatGPT Plus with enabled plugins that work with scientific publication data. And I used 3 prompts. So firstly, I prepared the model. Then I fed it my 3 texts. And they then asked to, using the information that I gave, generate a research proposal for my idea. And when it gave me the proposal, I told it to rewrite the proposal as a Twitter thread. And it worked fine. So I received a formatted text fast. However, the AI just collated and structured my input, and it added nothing. I must note that it did only what I asked. And second thing that did not work is that some of the plugins, they failed to function. Yes, thank you very much.
What did the actual final Twitter thread look like?
The information that I gave. Okay, I did not include it. It was okay for the first draft. However, ChatGPT has this proclivity towards hashtags and emojis, so it has to be polished up a bit. Yeah, but as a first iteration, it's okay. I still need to do some tweaking around the final form, but yeah, the overall workflow seems to be working okay.
Okay, cool. Did you include any data points in it, or?
No. Well, because the prompt was to generate the research hypothesis from the text that I provided, and the text they did not include any data. Yeah. So, but this is like my first approach. So maybe I will refine it a little bit, and in a few days I will come up with a better thread. Yeah, but as a starting point, I just wanted to see whether this this workflow works and what the results is gonna produce.
Cool, awesome. Well, I mean, I'd love to see the. Yeah, I think what you said about ChatGPT generating a lot of. It thinks tweets. Maybe it's like the training data is like weird or biased, but like it generates really random stuff. It doesn't do a great job. I wonder if that's like just our prompting of it, though, is like potentially the issue.
Yeah. So regarding prompts, so you have to be as precise as possible because so when you give some room for ambiguity, ChatGPT starts kind of producing random stuff, so you have to be as logical and as precise as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you wanted to say, or does anyone else have a question for Rakan? Charles? Julian? Joel? Anyone? One more person has to have something for Rakan.
Rakan, it makes me wonder if there could be like a simple protocol like built onto Twitter, like a bot that sort of does some of this research, summarizing, and I'm not sure how that would look, but it's just an interesting little protocol that you're coming up with here that I think could be really valuable. Just like provoke discussion and like popularize research that might not get enough eyes on it. And anyway, maybe a side point, but.
So the answer would be I don't know. So this is what I've been using myself for my work, and I use ChatGPT to actually polish my text because since English is not my first language, I kind of not confident with my texts in terms of grammar and readability. That's why ChatGPT was a blessing for me. And apart from that, whether it can be used to summarize research, well, potentially yes, but I haven't seen any implementation in this domain.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, excellent. Well, good. And yeah, maybe you can drop that Twitter thread in the group chat. I am curious to see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And also, like, if you figure out how to like prompt GPT to write better Twitter threads, share that with people too, because I think that would be generally helpful.
Oh, okay, sure.
Darian, do you have an insight into how to generate better Twitter threads? I saw you smile.
Yeah, there's actually a really funny trick with GPT. Is you got to ask it what you should ask it in order to provide better Twitter threads. So you're like, hey GPT, what should I ask you in order to get you to give us better Twitter threads? And then it'll tell you what to ask it. And there's actually science behind that, or there's data behind that of like that being better than anything you come up with yourself.
Is this specifically for Twitter threads, or is this for just in general when you're stuck?
This is just general stuff. I've used it particularly for Twitter threads, but the data is for general stuff.
Got it. I see. Cool. Okay. Nice to know. Good to know. Okay. Next up, we have Cannabis DAO.
Good day, everyone. We are Cannabis DAO. Today, we would like to talk about writing about what we're working on Twitter and our experience and insights from the activities. Part 1. What kind of write-up did you do? We mentioned mainly 3 things. First, past activities and achievements. Second, current activities at Psi Combinator, and lastly, call to action. In summary, we have hosted events, welcomed new members and advisors, and accepted by the accelerator program, Psi Combinator. Currently, we are working on research questions at Psi Combinator, verifying the correlation between these questions and NIH analysis, and evaluating the analysis results. Furthermore, we are actively encouraging our followers to participate and access our platform. Here is the tweet we made. Please scan the QR code. It would be great if you can like and retweet the series of the post. Part 2. What worked? Many of our core members being Japanese has allowed us to reach a sizable number of Japanese followers. Additionally, we've managed to achieve a substantial level of reach in countries like India, Nigeria, the UK, Argentina because we have core members in those countries. Part 3. What didn't work? Like any project, we've also faced challenges. One of our main issues was a lack of data and analysis, which made it difficult to demonstrate specific actions and results. Furthermore, while our DeSci approach has proven effective for promoting understanding among Web3 accounts, it's been less successful with individuals in the cannabis industry. And lastly, our reach to countries outside of our core members was insufficient. Despite these challenges, we remain undeterred. We continue to learn, adapt, and grow. And with your support, we're confident that we can make a significant impact in the cannabis industry. We still wait for the result, but hope to see new members coming from this series of tweets in this assignment. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Great video. What was I going to say? Interesting. So, I mean, it seems like a little, it's tricky. I mean, Elijah, is this something that you've had as well? Like, how has your reception been within the traditional communities?
It's kind of a double whammy. I'd say, like, the Web3, most people in cannabis are skeptical to begin with, right? For a variety of reasons. It's a traditionally prohibited industry, so researchers are skeptical, I would say, of many inquiries in general. Especially maybe anything related to money. So if they didn't get good responses, maybe that's why. Maybe I know in my discussions with them, I mentioned the NIH as example. But that's because I'm here in the US. Maybe if they could focus more on the research for funding institutions that are maybe in Japan or India or the countries that they're at, if that's the disconnect they're having, maybe they're the groups that or people they're reaching out to aren't getting feeling the relevance if they're in another country and the funding's it's a different funding system. So maybe identifying those funding systems that they could more readily tap into, at least the participants of, have and form better relationships with them. that could maybe work better in generating that data and testing out their hypothesis about DeSci. But other than that, it's like the crypto thing too. It's like a double whammy. You know, people are skeptical about most things in cannabis anyway, but then it's once you bring in Web3 and DeSci or new things, people get more skeptical. So it's probably going to be low conversion until you find, you know, really people that are committed.
Got it. Got it. Anyone else have a question for the cannabis DAO people? I mean, one thing that I was curious about is like how to grow outside your core group of people. So like maybe do you guys need to try and recruit a member outside of like Japan to be like a core teammate or something? And I mean, I know that's hard, obviously, because like time zones and stuff like that just make it tricky. But maybe there's like, you know, if you want to like continue to grow, have like more leadership internationally. What else came to mind? Let's focus on what did work. Oh, what worked? You had a good core group in Japan and Nigeria, UK, Argentina. That's good. Yeah, I mean, we would love to see this Twitter thread. Good. I mean, interesting. Cool. Excellent. I mean, anyone else have anything they want to mention?
Just a quick comment. I saw their thread and it's excellent. Yeah, I loved it very much.
Let's see if we can pull it up here. And then we can just like go over what a good thread looks like. Let's see. Okay, so can you guys see this or no? No. Okay, good. Let's see. Good. Good shout outs to people. Good. I think good. Good. Maybe bring some of this to the top, I would say, but I think it's fine. Good call to action. Yeah, great job, you guys. I mean, this is excellent. Really, really, really well done. Good science. Excellent. Nice work. Okay. Next up, we have. You guys really done a good job. Charles. With distributed governance.
Anyway, I think it went pretty well. I just created some. This is Charles Joe with the Distributed_Framework project, and so this video is a response to the write-up. Specifically, I did a tweet thread. I'm hoping we were supposed to do a tweet thread, but anyway, I think it went pretty well. I just created some sample tweets based on the thread that I saw. So we on to the next slide. So I was taking a look at this tweet thread by Abhishek Nagaraj, a really cool researcher who looks at how opening data, especially public data, can lead to new innovations. And specifically, this paper was about how proven data access democratizes and diversifies science. And so I pretty much used this tweet thread as a template that I could use for my own tweet thread. So here's my tweet thread outline: announcement, problem statement, research question, how to address question, results and findings, and then an outro. So first, have the announcement, and then showing that there's a thread. Then I have the problem statements, which includes a reference to a source, which can further illuminate some of the problem. Kind of helps just give some context. Then moving on there, now I have the research question, then how I titled the question, and then some results and findings. So I included a lot of the graphics from the last presentation and just some basic stats. And then I had a quick discussion, just hoping that this will spark a conversation. And also that the DAO index was pretty much generally applicable to all the DAOs, despite their differences. And also mention where the data could actually be accessed and letting people know that they can send their feedback. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the tweet thread. Thanks for watching.
Excellent work, Charles. That is very well done. Anyone have a question for Charles? Did you have a main thing that you were trying to push, like a main point that you wanted to get across?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have a main point for this one. I kind of just wanted to just show the results that I've gotten so far, and at least with the tweet thread that I was basing on, I was kind of following along where it's like the problem statement and the research question and how I analyze the research question. So it's kind of like through the thread, I'm kind of going about, it's like my point is really like, oh, here's the problem. That's kind of how I'm trying to solve it, and you should be able to see that through the results.
Got it. It might. One of the things I didn't mention is maybe it's good to have like a headline or something. I think that's kind of like what I was talking about with Tristan, is like the TLDR, but having like a good informative headline for people to know what it's about could be good. It could be something. I mean, so what's cool is like you don't just get one shot at publishing, right? Like you can do this again, and literally no one's going to care at all. So don't feel like this is it. Like you should probably do a new thread like when you do the final presentation and stuff like that, and maybe you can just like rework this one, or you know what I mean. Like it's not too big of an issue. Anybody else? So this was I wish I should have been able to read these threads. I don't think I saw it, but so it's mostly about like the process you went through and the problem then, or can you describe a little bit more about what's in the actual thread?
Yeah, so if you go, I think it's the next slide. So if you just like play a little bit, I'll show like the outline I had for the tweet thread. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, just included announcements, my problem statements, research question, how I addressed it, and then the results. So I kind of just went through this outline for the thread.
Cool. I mean, so you have the results and findings. I mean, that is. And what was in the announcement part?
The announcement, that one, I probably got to work on that one. I was saying, give it a better title or something that's catchier. But he had, I wish I got a much catchier announcement tweet. Mine was really basic because I didn't really have a title for it. So it's just like, here's the announcement. It's like, well, I got some findings. Here's the thread, and I included a link, but it didn't have it's not very enticing announcement.
Got it. Okay, so maybe that might be a possible thing to work on the elevator pitch or something for it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Tristan or Julian or Rakan, Elijah, Joel? Okay, we will move on here to who is next? Julian, with nice work there, Charles. You did an excellent job with that video. And next up we have Julian and Co. with Voluntoss.
William here from Voluntoss. So I guess this is a bit tangential to what a typical technical write-up might be, but our focus from like a write-up perspective recently has been on the token structure, because the clinical recruitment side of our business is kind of just like running, and we feel confident about that. So what I'm sharing is a portion of our white paper here that essentially goes through kind of the token structure and the flow. So essentially, there's two sides of it. We've talked with folks from Helium and other kind of burn and mint projects. So essentially there's the minting to patients, and then there's the burning, which is from industry purchasers. We tried to decide to set up an equilibrium here where there is a bit that goes to like funding the treasury of the project, but most of it just goes to burning. And so you create this equilibrium where patients are getting the token. Presumably many will sell it. That's fine, because on the other side of the marketplace, we are using industry purchasers to buy back the token. But I'm curious kind of how people think about validating these models. So far it's kind of been like talk to other DeFi projects, see what has worked and what hasn't. But I know these are like one-way doors where it's very hard to change bad token decisions down the road. So would be curious for input on how to kind of validate this before we, finalize it and issue the token. Thanks. I know it wasn't quite the assignment, but I did. It was something we've been thinking about the past week or two, and I just wanted to put it out there to see if there was any input. Because it is kind of related to like, I thought of like tweeting it, but in some ways, I don't know. Like I've reached out to a lot of people on Twitter privately about this topic and gotten some like bites for input, but I don't know. I guess we could like put it out there as like a, hey, what do you think about this? But part of me is just like, we kind of want to have it well formed and then just put it out there as like, this is what it is, rather than, I guess, asking for input in a public fashion.
What do people think? Get it out there and just go with it? Or, Tristan, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe run it by one or two sort of like token engineering specialists, and then post it, and then collect feedback. And then if you're feeling ambitious, you could have someone who does token engineering modeling with this software called CAD, and they can run a bunch of simulations and see what it tends to result in when you have the parameters in a certain way, and then maybe you can tweak it to get to certain outcomes.
Interesting. Yeah, we've talked to a few people. Like there's this guy at Helium that's been pretty helpful, and a few other projects like that are kind of, similar to ours. I think, like my observation from kind of my retail investor days was always kind of like, you want a project to come out of the door with like confidence, So I kind of worry about being like, hey guys, like we're thinking about this. What do you think? Like it almost seems better to be like, here's the token model. It's really good, but I'm curious what others think about that.
Anybody else? I don't know. I think one way is like when you get feedback from. One way is if you get feedback from people, it makes them feel part of the community. But go ahead, Charles, and then Jared.
Yeah, and so just like piggybacking on Kristen's points, of course you could go talk to someone who's a token engineer. You can always try the token engineer in Commons, or see if they have similar designs already, applicable to the token model you're trying to put out. So that could help you save some time there.
Mm-hmm.
And regarding you can technically put this out like as a draft, like we're thinking of a token model. We want to get some like initial feedback and see what you guys think about it. So you don't you don't commit yourself to the token model. It's just like, oh, this is an idea. So you're not kind of stuck with having to like actually push it out. So I think that could be a possible way of of going about and just trying to get some feedback and trying to see like, first and foremost, does anyone even want us to have a token, and does it make sense for us to have a token? So that you're not just like, oh, we have put out the token and okay, so no one really wants it. It's like, what's going on here?
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Darian, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a general question. Less, I mean, I'm not an expert on tokenomics or anything, but I'm more interested in how you've approached the legal side of things and making sure that you're like not violating securities law, things like that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're working with like Fenwick as our law firm, and they're like pretty good. I mean, they're like expensive, but they've done a lot of work with different pretty prominent protocols over the years. It's very much, it's funny because like in our conversations with like investors, this was definitely understandably like the number one reason for like saying no, right? Was just like, we're operating in the US, the regulatory issues. I think the thought has been, one is kind of like, it kind of is a bit theatery, honestly. Like we're like if I showed you the diagram that our lawyers sent us of like how they structure projects like this, it just seems, it's not quite to the level of like the FTX diagram, but it's it's not just Voluntas. It's like there's Voluntas Labs, and then there's like, you look at token, it's like you have a foundation and the foundation issues the token. So like it's not like the company issuing the tokens. It's just like this decentralized foundation, right? And it, in my opinion, it's kind of BS because it's like if you look at every DeFi protocol, there's always like the labs and then there's like the foundation, and they act like they're separate, but like, let's be honest, like they're kind of not, but it's like you have to do it for legal purposes. And then the other thing is like from a securities perspective that I think is actually relevant to DeSci is we've been working through with our legal team, and happy to talk more with folks about this. Like, so like the test for a security is like someone has an investment of money, right? I think one cool thing about certain DeSci projects is unlike say an offering of like Solana does a public sale and people invest money, we're just, people can people can do what they want with the token. Maybe they'll trade it, but like our involvement is just giving the token away to folks for free, right? So like they're investing something, they're investing like their clinical data or their time, but they're not investing money. So that's one way that our legal team thinks is like somewhat defensible. But it is like, I think risky. And I think, I think it's the type of thing where like, it's definitely probably the biggest risk with what we're doing, right? But I think that like part of me also feels, and this is something our lawyers have told us, like if you're trying to do things above board, like there is a lot of gray area, but like there's just so much stuff in crypto that's like really bad that regulators will go after. Like, I don't know, like, are they really going to choose to go after like a DeSci project that hasn't pulled weird shit? Maybe, but like, I don't know, like that doesn't seem like the top target, so that's kind of what we're thinking through, but it's definitely a big risk for us.
Thanks.
The other thing I think is just like, don't focus in the US. I think that's the way some projects have been approaching it, which is, as an American, kind of saddens me, but it is what it is.
Did we lose Michael?
Michael, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. It's okay. I took a second to get my thought anyway. Now I have the thought. This gets into the issue of DeSci versus TradSci. TradSci has a very regimented way of handling distribution through a journal. You have a PDF, right?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we have a PDF and we've shared it with a bunch of people.
Oh, so my question is like, how do you guys plan on doing like distribution for that in sharing this knowledge with people?
Yeah, I think the way we're thinking about it is probably like having one of those, just like wiki kind of sites that is like, I mean, I think one way we're thinking about it now is we already have like a separate site like voluntasresearch.com that doesn't mention crypto at all, that we sometimes send to like just like clinical research partners, if we want them to just like not think of us as a crypto company and think of us just as like a trial recruitment partner. But I think for like token stuff, yeah, I think we'll probably have what I've seen with a lot of projects that I kind of like is where it's like, it's not just a P, it's more of like a living wiki,
I guess my question is more about like, how do you get people to see your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like this is there's the approach we've taken for recruitment where it's like we're gonna do ads and get people for recruitment. I think from like the crypto side, I mean, I think a lot of it is probably like just the going on to similar discords and telegrams, like DeSci discords and telegrams, or like different crypto groups, and telling them about this. Reddit is, I think, a good source that back in my heyday as an like I would post a lot there. I guess it kind of depends on like what you're going for, honestly. Like, are you going for like, do you want to get like just random people to be like excited about a token? Do you want to get people who are actually like interested in the project? Ideally it's not just like, some random, moonshot, buyers, but it's people who are actually interested in the project. But yeah, I think that it would be like going to those sources and kind of, publicizing it a bit more.
Got it.
But I'm curious what people think about, because I'm a bit hesitant because like I mean, just back in the day in like the bull market, I was like pretty involved in some small cap projects and did some like, I would never like shill anything that I was not personally invested in, but I was like, I like bought a Reddit account with like high karma to post about stuff, and I was like posting on these really popular Reddits. And it just like, it makes me hesitant to do that for this project, I guess, just because I'm like, it's not like, KuCoin, or something.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. I love it. Anyone else have any questions, comments for Julian and Volantoff? I mean, and also I think you have some ability to reach out to other groups because you have connections to them. So maybe you can use those distributions.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Okay, next up we have a supplement down with Darren.
Hey everyone, Julian here from Volantoss. So
the purpose of this Twitter thread is to compare some existing supplement communities that already exist to the potential one that we're trying to build, and taking a look at, are the supplements that are being discussed in these spaces comprehensive, or are they kind of siloed in individual communities? So we wanted to look at a wide range of different types of supplements, nootropics, bodybuilding supplements, peptides, and some more mainstream supplements, and then using web scraping techniques, see if those are accurately represented on some of the top sites. So we're trying to see, is this information on these sites accurately covering a wide range of supplements, or are the supplement categories that they cover smaller and result in more siloed communities? Is there an opportunity for a larger community that has demographic data and wants to be a space to discuss all supplements, something that would be helpful to people that use supplements and like interacting with these spaces? We're still in the middle of collecting some data for this Twitter thread and putting together more of a compare contrast with some of these communities that highlight the benefits and negatives of them as well. So there will be more information coming out soon.
Okay. Let's see. Anyone have any comments? Or Darian, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah. So
See if
basically,
those are accurate.
sorry. Yeah, basically the idea for this survey, and it was a tremendous amount of work. Unfortunately, Jackson had a bit of an emergency with his day job. He wasn't able to finish this, but he'll finish this weekend. The purpose for this survey is to kind of see what exists. It's what is that called? It's not a longitudinal, but it's a summary of what exists in the space. And the idea is we're taking 20 of the top supplements and seeing in the spaces what is actually being covered and seeing if there's actually a problem here in the space. Because both of us believe that there is a problem, and then we're creating a write-up on basically forming a power grid with the cornerstone of it being the categories of supplements covered. Like, do each of these places cover all of these supplements? If they cover supplements, how are they covering them? Are they using science? Are they gathering community data? And if they're gathering community data, do they also do demographic data? So that kind of thing. So it's a survey of existing places for supplements, supplement information.
So the basic, so like it's like a need finding. Your Twitter thread is like how to do need finding for supplements.
Need finding? I'm not
Like
familiar.
what people are sort of seeking out.
Yeah, because basically
what is being covered and what is people want and what's being serviced and what's being not serviced.
Yeah, basically the idea for Supplement DAO in the first place originated from me and Jackson, or Jackson and then later me, having difficulty really figuring out what supplements to take based upon like what we want. So we had this hypothesis of like the stuff out there that we were able to find seems really bad. So this is just a way of verifying that in a more scientific manner. And then the Twitter thread, which will be out later this weekend, will cover this data and kind of, depending on the outcomes, say, and that's why we're doing this to fix all of these problems. With a link to the site that I'm currently building.
Got it. Well, share the thread in the Discord, in the Telegram group before, and we can give you feedback on it. What else? Anyone else have any comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you included a link to the survey in the tweet thread. I'm not sure if that was shown in the video.
It's sorry. It's not. It's the other form of it's like a land survey. It's not like a survey that other people are filling out, but we're surveying other websites to see whether or not they have this information.
Okay, now I got you.
Yeah, but we'll definitely include a link to the data itself.
Do you have a headline for the tweet? If the tweet had needed a headline, what would it be?
Well, it really depends on the outcome of the survey, but based upon what we expect the outcome to be, it would be the state of supplement information across the web is lacking, but in more layman's terms.
Got it. I'd say work on the headline a little bit and
yeah,
iterate on that to make it sort of easy to understand, or put another way, like make sure your tweet thread has a point. If it doesn't, try and think of one to back up a statement. Either chicken or egg. Like there should be some purpose to tweeting all this stuff out. Anyone else? Julian or Elijah? Can I see if did we do your video? I don't. Elijah, did you have a video? Oh yeah. Wait, did we do your video, Elijah? Or did I forget it?
We didn't do it. I don't think.
It is there, and then we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's out for like a minute, but I don't think that was.
Okay, yeah. I think I accidentally. Oh wait, Does anyone have any thoughts for Darian and supplement DAO? Anyone else? Okay, excellent. Well, excited for it. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have, and sorry, I think I went out of order with this. I don't know how I missed it, but next up we have Elijah.
Everyone, happy Friday. So this week I've worked on improving the communication around my survey, and so I'm really focusing the messaging now around improving cannabis experiences and sort of making this like a journal type experience for users. So I've gotten some feedback that the supplementary explainer text throughout the survey has been really helpful, so I'm trying to improve that as well as highlight the details about the study.
Let's give this a second to load here.
And the questions that are below. So I'll be including a lot of this information and pointing it out and highlighting it in my tweet thread that I'm going to be preparing. So I've also prepared a blog article detailing the benefits of journaling about cannabis experiences and why people would want to use a survey like this and participate in sharing their data, and ultimately to create a community around this. So I provide details about the benefits of journaling, a couple of fun stable diffusion generated images, examples of how to record, and example experience reports that were generated courtesy of ChatGPT. These are highly edited and I've reviewed them thoroughly. I generated quite a few and selected the best ones to include here. And then why we're using DBDAO, as well as some links to the survey throughout. So hopefully that will get more people to understand why they would want to use this. And I even created a Telegram group with a custom bot that enables people to join the group and retrieve the history of their responses to the form by messaging the bot, and it'll send them a DM with links to all their form responses, as long as they include their Telegram username or their email address in the form responses. And this also sort of tracks their responses and creates a leaderboard, so it sort of gamifies it and incentivizes them to participate as a community and share their responses with each other.
Cool. So the first thing was the blog post that you had about journaling, the survey.
I've also prepared a
and then
blog article.
Then the bot. So there's like 3 things in the video. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of.
Cool. Okay, so so I think your sort of research question has changed into understanding like the process of journaling as it relates to CBD.
So yeah, I mean, I guess my research question is, was originally, can I predict the like future? I think can I predict like basically what these experiences are going to be based upon the molecular components in a particular product? Right? Can I use that? And so that's kind of what this survey is intended to get at. So people are providing their experiences in this standardized format, and then I ask them to provide a link to the product that they consumed, right? Or especially if they have a picture of it, or if they have a batch number, and I can actually link that to the actual testing data of that product that they consumed, right? And link it to their experience. So it's building up. Some of that data does exist, but not in a way that's like matched. Where it's you can say that this is the specific product, right? There is some of that out there, but not in a standardized format like this. So yeah, just really trying to improve that experience around it becoming a useful tool for people, and enabling them to refine what they consume. If they're, for example, somebody that is using cannabis for treating ADHD or in something like epilepsy, right? The main way that clinicians will recommend patients to refine or to find what works best for them is to journal about it. So there's a couple apps that are like getting traction around this, but there's no, they're private, and so they're kind of like these companies. They're free, of course, but it's these companies that are just collecting data and then they're using it as like a product recommendation thing. I think using a Web3 approach, basically enabling this community to form and people to share that data, but still retain ownership of it. I think would be a good model to apply to basically open source these experience reports instead of having them all be in a private database of some app. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going for here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, so high collaboration. Okay, so I think your like headline is good. So like I think you have a good like I know what you're trying to do here. And I actually really like your write up here. It's like it's kind of like a bit like a magazine article in a sense. Like it's not super dry. Might be a tad long. I mean, obviously, good work on using ChatGPT. You always have to just like make sure it's like doing what you want it to do, like any tool. So just make sure it's like interesting for you to read. Sometimes it can be useful to shorten it.
Right.
What else?
Yeah, I went through a few iterations of like different. I basically asked ChatGPT wrote most of this article, but in sections, and I would have it write like one specific thing, and then I would edit, and then I would take it and I would ask it to redo a part, or I would just edit it and make it more of my voice and make sure it was good. So it's definitely like it was a few rounds of, oh, I should add this, and so let me generate like something around that, and then incorporate that into the larger piece. But now I definitely need to edit it down now, so it's just a little bit more punchy.
Yeah, I like that. Nice work. Anyone else? And then good work on the coding with the chatbot and TBDAO, and that seems very cool.
This is an open call. If anybody is really good with Python, or if anybody has worked with Python for REST APIs, I've used Python, but I'm also I'm just kind of getting a little stuck on the authentication part of it with the request I'm trying to make. So if anybody's got experience with that, please reach out. I would appreciate it, because it's just kind of one little thing where I feel like if somebody's done this before, it would be really easy, but I'm just kind of.
I can help you. I'm happy to help you with it. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. It's probably an auth header or something like that. What else? What else do people like about CGD? Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like now getting this in front. I think you're doing all the right things. I think it's just getting this in front of the right people who want to see it, who are gonna contribute data and finding. Like, I think your product here, whatever that means in this context, is good. You just have to find your like cult of people who are interested in this also, and I think that's kind of some ground game. But I think like you have the right material, you have the right concept. I think one thing is like having a good like value proposition, call to action. It's like, is your thing about like hardcore cannabis genetic research, or is it about journaling, or is it about this? And like as you refine that, I think that'll help to attract the type of crowd, because if you kind of split your energy, it can kind of be hurtful. But if you have like one like thing that you're trying to do and sort of get behind that, that might also be helpful. Does anyone else have advice or ideas for Elijah?
It looks great. I mean, I can imagine there's like only upside with the way that you're approaching this, the high science, but also the just respect for ordinary users and people's felt experiences, and just with new legislation and data-driven approaches rolling out state by state by state. Like there's just only upside, I imagine. So this is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing the right things here. I think now you just need to find that crowd that is interested in it. I mean, we're all interested, but now you need to expand it out a little. And yeah, I mean, that's also like building the thing is one thing, and then distribution is the next thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is. It's like it's to the point where I've gotten a couple people to try it now. I mentioned to you separately that one of them got stuck just submitting the form yesterday.
Yeah,
it's a couple things about just like, yeah, I think I want to have the full package there, and then kind of make a launch announcement. When I do that tweet thread and put everything in there and explain, why people would want to, and get that in front of the right people.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I think this is all the videos. Great work, you guys. Really, really good. And thank you, Charles. A good digital round of applause for everyone here. And anyone have any last questions? So for next,
I was just wondering what the assignments was for the next session. It's like on a little late.
Oh yeah, of course. Basically, assignment for next session is open. So we have this next session, which is open, and then the last session, which is like demo day. So it's open, so you can do whatever you want. And I think that's cool. Like you can go back, you can do something new. You can go back and improve on something you did last week. You can build your community a bit more. I think it was just like, I didn't want to be so prescriptive. All of you are extremely intelligent and smart and creative people. So I wanted to, give space for people to do that. So it's open. Make a 2-minute video about anything that you choose to do, and you can repeat something you've done before and improve upon it, or do a new a new thing that is outside of the 6 things or so we've done previously. Is also like maybe we missed an area, and you want to do something on data visual. We did one on data visual. Maybe you want to do something on improving your survey, or something else on community building or automatically building. Like, there's lots of things. And so basically just do it on that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, enjoy the Friday, or whatever time it is. Enjoy the time it is wherever you are. And thank you all for coming. And of course, keep the discussion going in the group chat. And keep dropping links of things that you guys find interesting. And we're rapidly coming to the end here, just like that, and then the demo day, and then that's it. And then we're part of the alumni, and we can continue on doing amazing things and doing DeSci, and it'll be wonderful. So cool. Have a good rest of the evening, and keep the discussion going in the group chat. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.